Rise and shine, ladies.
Hello,
And
welcome.
rising.
And rising. Let me put this mic as close as possible so I don't get fired.
Yeah, you're on a warning right now. Get
For
it right,
real.
chick.
I
Get
just
it
got
right.
a verbal warning next to written.
Written's coming up.
But that's not
Right.
cute.
It is cute.
Right.
You look like an actual podcaster.
Oh, hey. So let me sit up straight rather than lounging my legs up in the air. Hi, everyone.
Welcome to Shut Up and Thrive, the podcast that will inspire you to live your best life.
3 best friends who have been growing, motivating, and inspiring each other.
I'm Vanilla. I bring the fun.
And this is Claudia, the passionate one.
And your girl Nair, sprinkling in the creativity.
When you listen to Shut Up and Thrive, it will remind you of your chats with your own BFFs.
Join in every week as we discuss all the things that make you want to shut up and thrive.
So, are you ready?
Let's get into the conversation.
Ooh, ooh. All
Excuse
right.
me. That's
We
great.
ready, ladies?
What you mean? Ready for what?
Ready.
Ready to dive in to today's topic.
Yay, let's do it. What are we talking about?
We're doing a follow-up to our forgiveness episode. So, do y'all remember that one?
Yes.
Sure do.
Yeah. So yeah,
I
that was a
remember
pretty
you kept
intense
on
one.
talking about the movie, kept on talking
Yes.
about it. So I was like, no, we're not talking about the movie here. So here we are, part 2.
She finally
Yeah.
could let out all of the secrets that she was saying in that one.
Yes.
She couldn't hold on anymore. She can't hold on anymore. She goes, I need to do a movie preview, guys.
Yes, yes. So yeah, today we're going to be following up to forgiveness, incorporating a movie that we watched called The Shack. So for those of you that haven't watched it, highly recommend it. It's very, I'd say, powerful movie. It
Yeah.
really makes you think, and I don't know, just puts you in a place where you start to question your own beliefs and things you've known your whole life, I guess, right? So we'll kind of take you guys through the movie and talk about different points in the movie that, were kind of interesting topics. So y'all ready?
Yes, let's
Ready.
move.
All right, so the movie is centered around a guy named Mac. So basically, it takes us through an experience that he has, a very terrifying and traumatizing experience that I would not wish on any of us, not even my worst enemy. So I'll start there. I won't give it away yet. So the movie opens up with a young Mac, so he's a child, and he witnesses his father beating his mother. So, as the story goes on, the dad is an alcoholic, he drinks, he beats his mother. And of course, this is very traumatizing, right? Right from the get-go, Mac is being traumatized by this. So in one of the scenes, he sees his dad hitting his mother. He goes and tries to stop it, and the dad smacks him to the ground, right? So now he's hitting him. So the kid runs off and comes across, I would say, the neighborhood black lady. So she, very warm and has this really great presence for him, right? She invites him over for pie, and she sees the mark on his face. And basically it tells Mac that that's not love. That's not when you love somebody, you don't do that to them, right? So as the story goes on, they're in church, right? The family's in church, and he goes up to the pastor or the deacon and basically confesses to him what his dad's been doing to his mom. So the dad sees this, and now he's embarrassed, right? The son put his business out there. So he takes Mac to the woods and beats him, right? So obviously Mac, again, traumatized. What does he do? He puts poison in his dad's liquor. So that's where that part ends. And then it moves to another scene where Mac is wakes up from a nightmare, and he's like an older Mac. Now he's grown up. He's married. He has kids. At this point, the family's getting up. They're getting ready for church. So I don't know if you guys have any thoughts around that. I mean, I guess we can all assume what happened to Mac's dad, right?
Yes,
At this
he
point.
passed away.
So I think him waking up from I don't know if he was having, I'm sure he was probably having a nightmare, maybe reliving what he did to his father, and has probably been living with that for many, many years.
Guilt.
So the thing about this movie is, this is our forgiveness part two, because there's things that happen in this movie that will lead Mac to forgiving, but it ties a lot to spirituality. So that can kind of come in here too, to religion, to spirituality. It's centered around church, it's centered around God. But moving on in the story, so when they go to the church, a narrator comes in. So this narrator is actually Mac's friend of 10 years, and Mac kind of knows, not Mac, the friend, I think his name is Willie. He kind of knows the story. So he's narrating as the movie is going along. So they're in church, and Mac is like looking at the images of the stained glass, the images of God and like the different images, and then it cuts to another scene. So in this scene, it's a snowy day, and Mac is like on the phone. I think he's on the phone with his wife. They are not there. His wife and his family are not there. He's there alone. And it shows like an image of his youngest daughter on his screensaver. At this point, we don't know what's going on, but it's a very depressing, the feeling you get from this scene, it's very depressing. So, Mac goes outside and he's cleaning the snow with the snow machine. I don't know what they're called. The snow machines. Snow blower, I guess, right?
So machine. Let's make some snow.
So he's cleaning the snow, and then the machine or the blower, it runs out of gas. Okay. So he walks over to his friend, who's his neighbor, the friend guy, to borrow some gas, right? So he gets some gas. As he's going back to his house, he sees that his mailbox is open, and he's like, okay, that's strange. And there's a note in there. And the note is basically from God. It says, it's been a while. Let's meet at the Shack next weekend. And he's like, like, what is going on here, right? Goes back over to his friend.
Isn't there a specific name that they call?
Yes. So, okay, the story is that the wife has a good relationship with God. So she calls God Papa. And so she, like, when she prays to God, she prays to Papa.
Yeah.
So the note was signed by Papa.
Yeah.
So he's looking at it like, what the heck is this? And so he takes it, because nobody knows this, right? I'm guessing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he takes the note to the friend, and he's like, what, is this some sick joke that you're playing on me? And he's like, his friend's like, no, I would never joke about something like that ever. And so the friend's like, you need to bring this to the police. Like, maybe this is some weirdo or whatever. And then Max says something that's interesting. He says, there were no tracks in the snow. So how can someone walk up to my mailbox and leave a note and there's no tracks in the snow? So then that's creepy. So the friend's like,
itself.
Yeah. So the story goes on, whatever. It's obviously still on his mind, like this weird note. He even takes it to the post office, and the guy's like, there's no stamp on this. This has nothing to do with us. But ultimately, Mac decides that he's going to go up to the Shack. Okay. He says, I'm going to go to the Shack. He, asks his friend to borrow his 4x4 because I guess he needs his car or whatever. And the friend's like, well, I'm going with you. And then Mac's like, whatever, okay, fine. So the day comes, and the friend packs the car for them. He even puts a gun in there, and Mac looks at him like, why this gun, right? And he's like, just, you never know, right? So Mac thinks he's slick. He tells his friend, oh, how about the fishing poles? And it's the dead of winter, and he's like, fishing poles? Like, yeah, you never know. So as the friend is grabbing the fishing
gun,
pole,
right? So why not?
Right, might as well. So the friend's like, okay, whatever. He goes to grab the fishing poles, and Mac takes off. He go.
Yeah, I was like, yay, Mac! I was like, yay!
That was his chance to go on his own, because he was feeling like this is something I need to do on my own, right? And at this point, we don't know why he's going to the Shack. Like, we have no idea. No idea. So he gets there, right? So he takes the. Oh wait, before he gets there, he's like has all these thoughts in his mind, right? He's thinking about different things, so he's distracted, and so hold on. Does the part about
the accident?
Oh wait, yeah, I forgot a whole part.
Yeah.
So after he saw the note in the mailbox, he slipped and fell on the snow. When he fell on the snow, he kind of like blacked out and the scene changed. So we
Mhm.
do know what happened. So the scene changed to like a sunnier day. The family's packing up the car, right? So he has a wife, an older son, an older daughter, and a young daughter. So they're packing their car because the dad, Mac, is taking the kids on a camping trip. The wife can't go because she has a seminar or whatever.
So this is the part right in the beginning still.
Right.
Right, so
Part,
I
okay, all the way to
forgot
the beginning.
before the notes.
Before the snow,
No,
before
this is during the
No,
snow.
during
So
the
the
snow.
scene changes back and forth.
okay.
So after he saw the note, he slipped and fell on the snow. So I went too far. He fell on the snow and he blacked out, and that's when they went back to this memory or whatever. So as they're driving to the campground, the kids see this beautiful waterfall, and the older kids know the story of the waterfall that their dad has told them about, the Indian princess, but the younger daughter doesn't. And the kids are like, let's stop, let's stop. And the dad's like, no, we need to get to the campground because it's going to get dark. But they end up stopping anyway. So he basically tells the little girl the story of the Indian princess. She basically gave her life to save her people. So she jumped off that cliff and, whatever, it's a legend. So she jumped off that cliff to be able to save her people. And then the next day, they noticed that she wasn't around, but her people were saved or whatever. And then the chief, the princess's father, started crying, and his tears is what formed the waterfall. So that's the legend story of that. So they get to the camp and everything's cool. They meet a family. So they're all having a great time. So yeah, so in the campsite is where the terrible event happens. So the dad's packing up to leave, and the little girl is sitting in front of him on a table coloring, but the other two kids are at the lake in a kayak. So the older girl stands up and she's like, Dad, look at me, look at me, look at me. She's like shaking the boat, and then the boat tips over. The son gets trapped underneath the boat. So you are a parent. So I kind of wanna, well, maybe let me say what happens and then I'll get your thoughts on this scene. So you are a parent, you're packing up, you're trying to get everybody ready to go, and you see your children in the lake. The daughter's like, frantic because she can't find her brother. What do? He just ran into the water, right? That's your natural instinct. He ran into the water, jumps in, dramatic scene, saves the son, right? After all that, they're like, so the little girl's name is Missy. So, they're like, okay, fine, this is over. Let's go home. Where's Missy? Missy is
Missy's
gone.
missing.
Gone, gone, gone. So she's gone. They call the cops, the whole ordeal. Do you want me to say what happened?
She's been
Go.
kidnapped.
Spoiler! You spoiler. Go ahead. Spoiler.
Okay, she was
Spoiler
kidnapped.
alert. She's been
Okay,
kidnapped.
so
We don't know who took her.
so tell me, you two ladies are parents.
Yo, you don't know how mad I was.
Okay.
How my emotions were all
You
over.
want me to tell you if I was crying at this point,
Like,
or
how are you feeling?
It was painful because now you're like, I had the responsibility to watch her, and I had the responsibility of the other two. So one's in danger. So I left one thinking she would be fine, but she was in the most danger because it was a danger that I couldn't see. So I was emotional as hell watching that. I was like, oh my God, I would
But
lose myself. Like
yeah.
the blame falls on me, and that guilt will probably forever live with me if anything happened.
Imagine the highs and lows that you're feeling.
yeah, I was gonna say just
See your
that.
son, right?
Yeah.
hmm
The low. Then you save him, the high.
And
Then
then your
you
daughter
go.
gone.
Yep. That was what kept me like instead of
Insane.
I think I didn't think so much about how I would feel. Like now I really am because I was so into the suspense of that whole movie. The crazy way they made that movie is like you saw losing a child, how it made you feel, right? Well, like my child being stuck under the boat. I could
Mhm.
relate to that father. Like, oh my God, he must feel like crazy. So then there was the safe, like you said, the high. And I was like, God, that's what was happening. It's gone. You know what I mean? That wasn't the bad part of the movie. He's safe. And then like a snap, the little girl's
Second.
missing. So it's like, fudge. Really? You're gonna do that to my heart right now? Like I was
Right?
just crying. Now my heart's beating fast. But yeah, powerful movie. And
Yeah,
Niles did
that's
a good
insane.
job explaining it. But again, to our listeners, you know what I've learned that you should always point out when it's like a trigger warning because we have a lot of people who has gone through stuff like this, you know what I mean? Like loss of a child, they're grieving. So
Mhm.
if you are, be very careful just jumping into the movie
Mhm.
because it's deep,
It's
you
deep.
know?
Yeah, we should have said that in the beginning. There's a
Yeah.
lot of traumatizing things that happen, like if alcoholism runs in your family,
Mhm.
abuse, physical
Yeah.
abuse, all those things. If you're someone who's still dealing with that, this
I
might
think you
not be
should
the movie for
definitely no,
you.
I think you should definitely I think somebody dealing with that, I recommend you do watch the movie, but also put out there,
But just know,
you
yeah.
know, it's definitely triggering movie, so trigger warning, guys.
But don't give up. Watch the movie to the end.
Yep.
That's the key, is to continue watching it and really pay attention to what they're saying. I had to put my subtitles on just to make sure that I was like catching every word. Because,
That's
Yep.
sometimes
No,
important.
yeah, definitely, me
some-
too.
yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, so
So yeah, watch like Naya said, it's like there's a spiritual kick vibe to
yeah,
it. So definitely the movie is as traumatic as she's explaining it, but at the same time, it talks about God, right? And
it's
forgiveness, obviously,
It's
it
a
can
healing.
process. Yeah,
it can give
definitely.
you a way to help you overcome some of the trauma that you might be,
Yeah.
not trauma, but just things that you may have gone through. Because some people, maybe they did get over it, but
Mhm,
some feelings or some thoughts might still be lingering. It might not be super traumatic for you, but
mhm.
this can help. So yeah, the daughter ends up getting kidnapped, and the cops take him to identify the dress that she's wearing. They never find her body, but
Yeah, the baby
the baby's
disappears.
gone. Yeah.
That's where the shack comes along, the name
Right.
shack, because it was
Yes.
a shack that they
That's
found the
where
red dress.
yeah, yeah.
The name Shack. Yep, yep, yep.
Yeah, so they found her, clothing in the shack. Okay, so going
Okay, sorry, going back to remember the legend. I was
mhm,
like, "Why?" My mind was like, "Why did you have to tell the little girl the story about the princess who jumped off?"
mhm.
So because she probably went and
She
jumped
saw her
off to save her
brother.
brother's life. Like
Mhm.
that's what that little girl just did. She
That's
went to
what
like,
you thought happened?
yeah. Don't you think that was the connection between the legend and that little girl's life? It was like the last story her daddy really told her. It was the little girl being
Mhm.
so brave and doing something so big to save her village. So I
Right.
figured when they saw, because this all happened real fast, right? So I figured when
Mhm.
she saw the sister asking for help or the
Yeah,
thing, she could
on the
probably
boat.
already been kidnapped, but in my imagination was like, no, she didn't go climb up like the tallest mountain she could find and jump off
Oh,
to
so the
save
brother
her
could
brother's
live?
life. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that
what
was
I
like
was
something I
my
thought
mind.
too through the movie. It was like it's either somebody took her or she went to do what the
I
Mhm.
story
just
was.
thought she
Because
went
she
to
was
do.
so into that and she
Mhm.
was special. Like that the little girl, just for the little bit that you watched her, the
Mhm.
way that she was
Mhm.
very smart and very
Yeah, the way she was persistent with
spiritually
like, "Tell
wise.
me the story, daddy. Tell me." I
Yeah,
was like, "Oh gosh, that's why you shouldn't tell kids stories."
stories.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't put the 2 together.
Mhm.
I think maybe they made her that special to make it such a huge loss, like,
Mhm.
to make her, like, a really important part of that family, and to just be taken away like that.
Mhm.
It really caused devastation for all of them, but, each one handled it different ways. Like,
Yeah.
the oldest daughter we saw, she did not take it well. There's a scene where she looks completely opposite from the happy little girl that she
Very girl
was,
she
and
was.
yeah. Um, so going back to, now he's on his way to the shack. So when he gets there, he takes the gun with him because he doesn't know what he's gonna find there. It could be the murderer himself trying to get him now.
That's what I thought. I was like, "The letter is not from God, it's from the murderer.
Well, I
He
knew it
wants
was
to
from
ask for
God.
forgiveness."
No, I
Sorry.
knew it was from God.
You did?
When they said there were no tracks in the snow,
Yeah,
right
but
then there, you knew. But so he goes in there, he's very cautious because he doesn't know what he's gonna find in there. Then he sees the blood stains, and that just he went crazy. I
mm,
mean, come on, with good reason. He sees the blood stains and he starts throwing things and he's just angry. And then he like breaks down and kind of starts to cry. And I think this point is very pivotal as well because he's like so depressed he literally starts to turn the gun on himself. I don't know if you guys remember this part,
Mhm.
but then hears a noise and like quickly like points the gun out, and it was just this innocent deer. So right there, that's God right there, right?
Mhm.
Because he was really on the path, like down the wrong path.
Yeah.
And that quick moment, and then he was like, oh my God. So then he goes outside, I think, right? And he sees a person. So he's like, what the heck? So maybe that's the
He
murderer
thinks
guy, right?
yeah.
So he sees a person walking towards the shack. So he's like, okay, he's like hiding behind a tree. He has his gun out. And as a person passes by, he like points the gun at them because he's ready to shoot that guy. The guy calmly turns around and he's like, yeah, it's kind of chilly out here. Let's go, because he's carrying wood. So he's like, let's go start a fire. And then he goes, I have somebody who wants to see you.
Yeah.
So this is where all the crazy, not crazy, but like the mystical things start happening,
What do you
right?
think was happening now? You as the
Um,
watching it.
The scenery changed too.
yeah, scenery changes. So it's snowy. As they're walking through the forest, now it's sunny and
Mm,
warm and it's
mm.
green. I'm thinking, I don't know. I was thinking maybe he was dreaming, but how was
Mhm.
he dreaming? You know what I mean? Like I didn't put the connection.
Like
What
I was thought
happened?
Yeah,
it,
he
I
hit
think
his
he
head again.
fainted. He
Yeah.
fainted
I'm like, he hit his
and
head
is
again.
just, he was so tired and so out of it that he passed out and
Mhm.
then was just
Or
dreaming.
dreaming.
That's
Yeah,
what I
I
thought.
I was thinking it was more of a dream state. So they get to, I guess it's the shack again, right? But it's on a lake.
Mhm.
It's like beautiful, and this is where he meets.
What
Should I
was her
say it?
name?
He meets mama.
He meets God.
He meets
Mhm.
papa,
Yeah.
Yeah, he
I
meets
guess.
Papa. Yep. So he meets God, which
He's a
not what we
fool.
would think God, and not what he thought God was. God is a black woman. So what did you guys think of that? That they made
I
God
loved it
a
that at
black
first she
woman.
was that. I loved it. And then I don't know, are we saying how God was described in this? Are we going to talk about how what
Yeah, go
God
ahead.
means in this? And God becomes something that's changeable, mutable. So yeah, she's a black woman, but Papa might just be
Well, God
like
is
a
not a
different man.
person, so
Yeah.
God can, like you said.
So yeah, it was cute that the first bodied God in the movie was a black woman. And it was that black woman though. The
Yeah.
woman
Right, the one from his
who
past.
treated it as, as God would when he was alive. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I automatically was like, wow, like he's so traumatized that God, when he goes back to his childhood, was like a neighbor he hardly even knew for treating
right,
him good for like a couple of seconds. Or maybe she treated him good every time mom was beat up or he was beat up.
right.
Yeah.
But she was like his
So that
safe
was,
space when he
yeah,
was younger.
yeah, safe
So that
space.
was nice.
Hmm.
He also meets Sarah Jew. I don't know if I
Is
said her
that
name right.
the
She's,
cute girl?
yeah. So her name means, I wrote down. Her name means like the breath of wind or something.
Yeah, she
Mhm.
was the breath of
And
wind.
Thank
she's,
you.
yep. And then the guy that he had pointed the gun on that led him to the house was Jesus. So he met the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So
Hmm.
Sarah
Oh
Jew,
yeah,
she's
that's
the
cute.
Holy
She was the
Spirit.
Holy
Yeah.
Spirit.
So that was cute. And so while he's here, right, he spends probably like a few days here from the timeline of the movie. He just has all kinds of weird experiences. First of all, he's like, where am I? Like, he doesn't even know what's going on. But he has times that he speaks with God, and you get the perception that he's not fond of God, right? He blames God. That's it. He blames God.
He stopped believing, yeah. Or did
Yeah,
he ever believe?
I
Did
don't
he?
think I don't think he doesn't believe in God, but I think he didn't really understand the role that God plays in our lives, right? He blamed God for the bad things that were happening. And like there's a scene where he's in the kitchen with her and he's like, if you love us, then why did you let bad things happen? Like why did you let my daughter die? Why did you let all these bad things happen? And your own son Jesus. And then she basically had to break it down for him that it's not that I let these things happen. And she was like, you left them when they needed you most.
Mhm.
And she's like, no, I'm always with you. I'm always with you. No matter what is happening, I'm there. And what kind of brought that together was she showed her wrist and she had the marks that Jesus had when they crucified him, to show that I was right there with my son when all those things were happening. So mainly to drive the point across that, evil exists, right? And that's not God's doing. Like God,
Mhm.
not the one responsible for the evil things. But yeah, so like as the story goes on, one part, if you remember, he has this dream where his he's dreaming of someone running away with his daughter, and his daughter's calling for him, and like he can't get to her. So he wakes up obviously from this nightmare and goes to the patio, and God has breakfast there waiting for him. And she's like, oh, what did she say? She
This
said
is him
something about
dreaming
dreams.
within the dream.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically. She said, dreams are important. They could be a way of opening a window and letting bad air out. So I dream a lot. I don't know about you guys.
Oh, I dream
Nope.
to the point of like, I don't want to dream anymore. Please, no dreaming today.
I do not dream.
You don't
So that's
remember your dreams.
interesting.
I don't.
But do you like sometimes sometimes I don't remember my dream, and most of the time I don't remember my dreams, but I know that I dream. You, Claudia, you know that you do
Yes.
not dream?
I
Like
know I don't dream.
like you wake up, you don't have no
There's nothing in
I
my
don't know.
mind when I wake up the next day. There are times that it's like vivid. I remember when my dreams are my dreams, they're
But you
vivid. I
dream.
remember every single
Yeah.
piece of that dream. Like it connects throughout the day when I'm processing if it was a
So you
dream.
dream.
But
There's
it's not
she's
like every day. It's very
oh,
random that I have
that's
a
good.
specific dream. But I wake up every day. I'm like, well, yeah, I slept. I woke up.
okay.
It's just
That's that might be
thank
relaxing.
you for letting me wake up the next day, but I don't remember what happened.
Yeah. Do you like dreaming though? Like
I do. I don't really have nightmares.
that's
My
good.
it's not nightmares. Most of it it's something speaking to me that
She
is
has nightmares.
usually that's usually
Yeah, baby.
in my
We all
conscious.
have nightmares, Claudia. You're not getting out of this one.
I don't have nightmares. No, no.
Yeah.
Mostly it's
Yeah,
messages.
that's good. You don't remember your dreams. You don't remember your nightmares. It's okay.
Do you,
Because
Vanilla?
sometimes remember dreams and
Like
like
what are dreams? What kind of role do they play in your life?
I think my dreams are always telling me to, girl, you need to go to bed more relaxed because you're remembering or you're dreaming about how your day went or didn't go. Or I can always, okay, I was having this conversation with so and so, and this is why I had this dream because of that conversation. I can always pinpoint that when I
Mhm.
remember my dreams. And it's like, oh, see, that's what you get for watching that crazy killing movie last night. Your dream was about killing and crazy stuff.
Mhm.
So it's always how it's almost like a mirror of my day in a way, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
I've noticed that about me too. More recent, it's like a jumble of my thoughts, like all together in a sequence.
mhm,
But there's been times where I've had like recurring dreams.
mm,
I used to dream a lot about being chased
mhm,
Mm.
and trying to get away from whoever was chasing me. I've
mhm.
had dreams where they're super violent
Oh,
and yeah, like scary nightmares. And then there's like I had lucid dreams where I realize I'm in a dream. I'm like, what am I like? It's really an intense dream, but I get to the point that I'm like, why am I still here in this situation when I know I'm dreaming and I literally tell myself to wake up.
yeah,
Yeah, so I haven't been having like crazy weird dreams. I've been dreaming but not really fully remembering. So just again like those thoughts, like
yeah.
innocent thoughts though, but
I've
I've
had
had
those
times.
dreams too. And how about you're having your lucid dream and you're like, "Fucking wake up." You wake up, you go to the bathroom, do your thing, come back to bed. Please do not go back to that dream and go right back
Yep.
in that dream. It's like,
I do
damn,
that all
you
the
did
time.
this to yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think our dreams do kind of mirror what's happening in our lives, what we're going through, or the things that we're contemplating in our mind.
Yes, your brain fascination about our brains, I think, has to do with dreams.
Yeah, that's another thing
That's
in its
another
own.
topic. Oh, we have so many topics. Claudia, write it down. Dreams.
Dreams.
I'm not a dreamer.
But yeah, going back to the movie, right?
Yes.
I think Nair is, telling us the movie really good, but like at this point where Nair is about to maybe keep going, that's where the thriving really starts, right? When he meets God, that's when the
Mhm.
thriving part of the movie really start. Because our topic today is forgiveness. So this is where he really start to learn what's his name again, the guy?
Mac.
Yeah. So his doubt in
Yeah,
God or his trauma in the past, but so this is the fun part where he starts to learn about
not fun,
forgiveness.
but
I know, I'm so fun, right?
that's not fun,
I know.
girl.
He starts to this is the intriguing part. I don't know, it's a cool part where he starts to
Yeah.
learn about forgiveness.
So I think for him, he had to overcome his thoughts and relationships about not relationships,
His beliefs.
relationship and his
Mhm,
belief in God. So he seems like throughout his life has always questioned the role that God plays in his life. Like you can tell that he was raised in the church. He went to church every Sunday. So going to church was a part of his life, which again can bring us into another topic where there's a lot of people that are raised religious. That's why one of our topics to be religion versus spirituality, because there is
mhm.
a lot there. And I know, Vanilla, the other day you were reading it and you like made a face like, but it's
Talk about
important.
religion and spirituality. I mean, yeah,
Not,
we'll definitely do it.
yeah,
It's just a crazy little topic, I
it's
think,
a heavy
sometimes.
topic,
Yeah.
but it's interesting to see that there are people who are raised religious, but what is their spirituality? What is their connection to God? Like some people just go through the motions. They do it because that's all they've known. They do it because it's a part of their family. But do you truly believe it? Do you truly understand it? How about that? Because I
Mhm,
feel for him, he didn't really understand God, understand the role that God plays. So this point in the movie is where he's starting to say those things out loud, right? He's
mhm,
saying, you know, I'm mad at God. I'm mad that God did this to me and my family and to my child. And how can you be, everything you say you are when all these bad things are happening? So this is, like you said, the turning point where he starts to really understand what's happening and why things happen. So I wanted to bring this up because him and Jesus have a really nice relationship. And he even said in the movie, like, I feel more connected, more like I can relate to you more, right?
mhm,
And then Jesus explained, yeah, because I'm human, right? I was human. Not God obviously is not human. The Holy Spirit's not human, but Jesus was human because he was the God that we can relate to, right?
mhm.
So there's a scene where Jesus tells him to take the boat out in the water. He's like, "Oh, I'll be with you in a second. Just go hang out by the boat." So he takes the boat and he's, on the water. Everything's cool, and all of a sudden, like his traumas or his thoughts start to invade his mind. So I think
Mhm,
this is very important because sitting in the boat and then he starts to think. He looks in the water and he sees his son's face in the water, right? So a lot of times in our lives we might be doing okay, right? But something triggers us. Either we
mhm,
see something that reminds us of something that we went through, and that trigger happened for him. So now he's consumed, right? So the boat is now flooding, right? Like he's sinking in the boat. The water is not blue anymore, it turns black. So he's like desperate, he's lost, he's feeling like suffocated. That's the word, suffocated. So then Jesus is like, basically telling them, focus on me, breathe. So I think that's important for us to understand that a lot of times we get stuck and dealing with our internal traumas, right? And we
mhm,
let it consume us and it starts affecting our environment. It
mhm.
affects how we live our lives and the people around us. And I think that scene in the movie kind of symbolized that
It
for
does,
me anyway.
and then I also think it reminds us of the trauma he went when that was happening to the son. So, like, it was almost Jesus trying to remind him, "See, you went through that, but God was there that moment, even though he might not have been right after, but he was there because your son was saved and alive, you know?"
Mhm.
But how he felt like the water turning black, that's probably what he felt when he saw the son was stuck, how he felt that, you know?
Mhm. Yeah.
So definitely an interesting movie for anyone who wants to, tap into the thing of God, gratitude, forgiveness. What else is this movie? Oh, by the way, it's on Netflix. Did you even see that? I don't know if you said
No.
that. No. Check. Yep, check. Find it on Netflix. It's all about God, forgiveness of self and others, and
Mhm.
gratitude, right?
So another thing that kind of pointed for me that religion and spirituality was when Mac tells Jesus that he doesn't really fit the idea of what he thought Jesus was. You know what I mean? Like all the stuff he was taught in his religion, like him hanging out or knowing Jesus now, right? Really, that's him having a relationship with Jesus is what the everything he's going through with him is signifying. And then he's like, religion's way too much work for me, you know? This is Jesus who said that. Like he's like, he said, I don't want slaves. Like I don't want people feeling like they're a slave to religion. He's like, I want friends, I want family. I want to share my life with everyone. So it's important again, of course, like I'm not, maybe you guys might think like I'm bashing religion. I'm not bashing religion because you as a person, you have to find what works for you, right? And some people need the structure, they need the rules in their lives in order to feel like they're grateful, like Neale was saying, like they're happy, like they have ways that they can, be happy in their lives and find joy. Some people need that, and that's great. But that's not the only way to God or connection to the universe or whatever you want to call it.
And
Right. So you can have Jesus as your Lord and Savior, whatever the case may be. You can have a relationship with Jesus, but it doesn't have to be through religion. It could just be based on your knowledge of Jesus and like, just knowing that he's in your heart. So I think that was an important part of the movie as well.
Yep, yep.
And then he said another thing too is like he just wants people to know God and feel what it's like to truly be loved. So, do you guys think you know what it's like to truly be loved? And to truly be loved is to be loved with no condition because God, right? God loves everyone. God loves everyone is God's children,
Mhm.
even the bad people, guys, which is, it might be hard for us to understand that. But throughout the movie, you kind of understand why this is so. Do you think about the people around you? Think about the life that you've lived. Can you truly say that you know what it's like to feel truly loved with no conditions at all?
In relation to God, yes, that's
Because you feel you have that
I
connection, right?
feel because my belief, my faith, my understanding of how I, see what God means to me basically is how I know that I am truly loved. And that's how I believe that yes, there is a God.
Yeah, I think
That God
because
is
Mac,
that God loves everyone, that God is within everything. So this my belief is more towards maybe the spirituality thing, because it's not when you say spirituality, when you say religion, it's very this is how it is, I think,
it's
right?
written.
It's a book written versus spirituality is what Naya is trying to see if do we believe that we've ever been, fully loved. And yeah, my belief in God is what tells me that. Am I explaining myself okay?
no, you are because like I really want our audience to really think about that because human beings are flawed, right? So even like for instance, we can say that we love our children like, no matter what or, our parents love us no matter what. But I'm sure you've been in situations where you felt like, does my parent really love me or your kids are acting crazy and you're like, yes, you may love them, but do you like them? You know what I mean? You
Mhm.
might say, yeah, I love my children, but I don't really like them right now. But what are you really saying? Like, are you giving that child your unconditional love?
You being human and flawed, yeah, of course you are. I don't think a thought or you saying, "I can't stand him right now," like when you say those words actually come out of your mouth towards a child or your kid, but it does because we're humans and we're flawed. But I don't think if deep inside the love is there that it matters that much. That's what that whole forgiveness of self, you know what I mean? If you believe, you forgive yourself for having that moment or that thought during that moment.
Yeah,
And
but
that's
that
what love
energy
is.
you're putting out, don't you think that's going to affect your child?
Yeah, but then you can go turn around and put in a better energy
But it's still that
that
energy was still
fixes
out
it.
there. But that's what the
So
point I'm trying to make is that God never has that energy. God's energy is pure love, and pure love can only really come from God.
but it's pure love even to the point that I will let you do or have that bad thought and I still love you. Do you understand? So it's almost like when you believe that God is pure love, right? You believe that God is forgiving even the ones who we as humans be like, "No, you don't deserve forgiveness." Then you putting that energy out there that's not so good is also forgiven by love because deep inside, of course, you love your child even though you have that thought. I don't think that thought will change how you're because then I'm in
No, I
trouble.
Right. No,
because I always want to,
I'm
no,
telling
I understand what you're saying. I know from your perspective, but I'm saying from the receiving end, whether they consciously or subconsciously feel it, energy is felt no matter what. They're gonna feel
Mhm.
that energy from you, whether you know deep
Yeah.
inside your heart, you know you love them. They're still gonna feel that negative energy from you. But what this part of the story is saying that God will never give you that energy. Like that energy
Oh.
from God is always there's no negativity attached to
Do
it.
they mention where the energy comes from?
What do you mean? Energy
You
is
said God doesn't give you that energy.
anything within
From the
everything.
movie.
yeah.
Well, it's
No,
only I
that's
believe
my
it's only
interpretation.
expected from God. I think
Well,
because
I'm sorry,
we are
Claudia. What
human,
Claudia, sorry.
Start
What did you
over,
say?
sorry.
Yeah.
I said I believe it's expected that only God is loving every person unconditionally. There is no unconditional love for humans. We are flawed. That is the reason why we can't be unconditionally in love or unconditionally hate someone, because we can make our wrongs to rights. That is the difference between being an angel or a spiritual being from humans who are actually able to do wrong and come and fix that, and that's the part of spirituality that comes in when you're connected to knowing that there's a higher being, and there's whatever word you want to call them, in the earth. You're connected to the earth, you're connected to the air. That's that energy, your awareness of that energy, so you fix it. Like, I could be angry right now, really angry, but as long as I realize that I'm angry, I ask for my forgiveness, you know what I'm saying? And I calm myself down and connect with the better energy that I could give out, it changes. But if you stay in that negative energy, and that's where the dark side. So
Mhm.
my belief is that you're never going to find unconditional love from anyone that is human,
Mhm. Yeah,
because
and I think that's what Jesus was trying to say to Mac is that you have to know God's love to know true love. And we are made in God's image, so we are godly beings, so we do have the capacity to
Mhm.
love, but we are also here in a world that evil exists and we are human with free will, so we can choose the bad or we can choose the good, where God is good no matter what. Does that make sense? So like that kind of leads to this part. This is kind of like my favorite part because this is where he meets wisdom. So if you guys remember wisdom, she broke it down. She laid it on him. I'm not gonna give the details. You're gonna have to watch the movie for that. But
Yay.
she's really the GOAT of this movie for me because Mac and she basically explains to him like you're a judgmental person and she's talking to him but she's really talking to all of us, right?
Mhm.
And so she's like, shoots questions at him and gets into the point that like, okay, if you've been judging your whole life, now you be the ultimate judge. You come sit in this seat and feel what it's like to be God, right? So she puts his two children in front of him, his son and his daughter, and was like, okay, they've done bad things in their life, right? Because they're human. You have to pick which one of your children goes to hell.
Yeah, that was a
And
good part.
that's basically like we're trying to tell God, "Oh, you have to send that murderer to hell, but you send me to heaven because he hurt me."
Mhm.
But we are all God's children, so God
So
cannot
go
choose.
ahead, be God, like,
Right.
yeah, be
You
God and
do.
pick which one of your
If
child.
you think God is responsible for all of this, then be God and pick which one goes. And what does
Yeah.
he do? I'm not gonna say what he does. You can watch it. But again, and then he starts to question wisdom and he's like, there's bad things that happen. Why does God do bad things and all that? And then she's like, evil exists. And this is very interesting because I noted a book that kind of helped drive this point home for me. So here's a takeaway. I got to bring up my books. The book is called Conversations with God. I forgot the author's name, but it's a 3-part series. That book is amazing. If you like kind of have these questions as well and just in a situation where you're like just trying to understand the role that God plays in your life, like these books are amazing. And it basically she's trying to explain that, you know, in this world that we live in, we have to have opposites, right? Like there is no up if there isn't a down. There
Mhm.
is no hot if there is no cold. So there is no good if there's no
Mhm.
evil. Evil has to exist. And we as humans have free will. That's the one thing we have as humans is free will. So because we have that free will, we have the option to choose between the opposites, right? We can choose hot or we could choose cold. You like iced coffee, I like hot coffee. Because we have that freedom to choose, we can choose what we want. And so she said a very important quote. She said, as long as there is another will in this world, right? So the will of evil and the will of good, free not to follow God. So you have the option. You can have God in your life, have God in your heart, or you cannot. Evil will find a way in. If you choose to not have God in your life, evil will find its way in. What do you guys think of that?
Hmm.
Ooh. Well, I think because we believe, right? We have faith. But what if someone is interpreting this like, what do you mean if we don't believe in God? I don't believe in God, but I
Mhm.
believe in this. It
Well,
mi- so as long as you have a belief that there's something greater, or just you have a belief that love, okay, just if you believe in love,
right.
then you believe that,
If you don't have love in your heart,
heart,
then
okay.
then
So it's
evil
not
and
that you
bad things
believe
can
in
find its
God,
way.
evil. As long as you have love in your heart, the grief, not grief, bad things won't easy come your way. Is that what you're saying? Or you're saying just believing in God?
Well, the way she says it, because remember, this
Mm.
this this movie
It's
is
a
very
movie, yeah.
spiritual. It's very, not to say religious, but more spiritual. It points a lot to God, but God, to you, it doesn't have to be God. Like you said, it could be love. It
Yeah.
could be the universe.
God
It
is
could
what
be
you want it to be, right?
could just be something, a higher power outside of you. Now, where I kind of am like, there's people out there who are atheists, which is very interesting to me because I would love, like, I don't know if I know, maybe I do, and I just don't know they're atheists. Anyone who's an atheist, like what their views are.
Exactly. I would have to
And
look that up too, because does that mean they don't believe in God?
yes,
Mm.
exactly.
Or there's just that means that they know they believe in God, but they
No, no
cherish
God,
No, they don't
no
believe in
God,
God at all.
no God, no
Not
nothing?
even the spiritual realm, I
no
believe.
spirituality.
So what is it then? What makes
That's
you an
why it's
atheist?
very
Exactly.
interesting to me
Yeah.
because
Okay, what is it
I
then?
feel like in order for me to experience joy, forgiveness, all of those great things that come from a belief in God, like I have to, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So that would be an interesting conversation if any of our listeners and viewers, if you're
Mhm.
atheists, I would love to have a conversation with
No, it's
you.
exactly what it is. It's an
It's so
unbeliever,
hard,
yeah.
exactly, because we've been taught different and you have a different view. So it's not, I don't judge anyone on their choices.
Mhm.
It's your choice, but it's an understanding. Like we need to come to an understanding. In this world that we are today, a lot of people don't want to understand the differences of beliefs that other people have. So that would be great if we can speak to someone. If
Yeah.
I understand, I'm not judging. I don't know
Yeah.
anything about it. I want to hear about it so I know, like, all right, I get it.
Mhm.
Because I'm non-judgmental. I'm open to things. For me, this is what works. For you, that's what's work. I understand your path. We're just gonna work together as much as we can to get.
Yeah, and for me that's the thing. Like I've never been a religious person, so I'm not the type to go to church and to do all of the religious ceremonies and different things because that just doesn't speak to me. But
Okay.
I appreciate people who find their happiness through religion. Like I'm so happy for you if that's what you feel you need in your life
Mhm.
to be a happy and productive person or whatever the case may be. But the other side of it is what keeps me going is knowing that there is a higher power, knowing that there are things out there that fulfill me that's not necessarily just what we see in front of our eyes, what we hear. It's something else, right? That mystery, that faith. But for
Okay.
someone who doesn't have that, what keeps them going? What
Mhm.
makes them happy? What makes their life meaningful? That's the thing I'm looking for. Like if you're an atheist, like how do you find meaning in life? Like that's so interesting for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna step in real quick because you know me, I looked up atheist.
Atheist.
Yeah, it's exactly what we've been saying. Someone who believes that there's no God, right, of any sort. But then I was like, but I want an example of what an atheist would be. And listen to what I just got.
Mhm.
What is an example of an atheist? A person who believes that there is no God. Okay.
Mhm.
The definition of an atheist is a person who does not believe in the existence of any kind of God or a higher power. An example of an atheist is a person whose beliefs are based in science, such as
Mm.
the idea of humans came from evolution rather than Adam and Eve.
Mhm.
Does that make me an atheist? Because I don't believe that humans came from Adam and Eve. I do
No.
believe in evolution and I do
Yep.
believe in
And
reincarnation.
science.
And okay, yeah, science, reincarnation, evolution, that's my belief, but I believe in God. So
Mhm.
why would this example be a person whose beliefs are based in science, such as humans being
Right.
came from
What
evolution rather than Adam and Eve? I mean, Adam and Eve is definitely just big on religion when I think of it. It's just a religion thing.
Mhm.
So I am not religious because I don't believe in Adam and Eve, but I'm not atheist because I don't believe in Adam and Eve because I do
Yeah,
believe in
that's
God.
interesting. That's interesting because even as an atheist who believes in evolution, what started everything? Like that's my question is, okay, you can be an atheist is fine, that's your beliefs that we evolved throughout the millions and trillions of years to what we are now and we are constantly evolving and in a million years we're not going to be what we are right now, what we know to be right now, which okay, I
Mhm,
believe that as well, but what started it? What was the very first life form?
mhm.
And
Oh,
how
I
are
don't think
we
we will ever, or I don't think this is a lot of
and
crazy
right, and
topic
like
because
how
I
do
don't
you
think you
explain?
could ever explain that. Let's go as far as we can in our planet, in our teeny little planet, right? Explaining what happened
Yes.
here. We can go very far, and science can take us very, very far. Science can show us evolution that goes, you know what I mean, back in the days. But like how everything started as far as God that goes beyond our universe, that goes beyond our planet, beyond our universe. No, we can't as humans we can't explain that. I think that's where the spirituality comes in. Believing that I believe that there's something greater. Do I believe in aliens? Oh God, yeah. If that's what we want to call it, we are aliens here. There's definitely aliens someplace else. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Other life forms. I mean, it's not what we know as life form, it's a
Correct.
different form. But yeah, it's just crazy to
It's
think. And then I also feel like we're not meant to know that because how could we even want to be humans if we knew that?
yeah.
Like for me, I think it's amazing. Like obviously I don't want to die, but when I die, I know it's going to be a beautiful, amazing experience because being born is a beautiful, amazing experience. So why wouldn't quote unquote death? It's not really death. It's you because again energy, right? We are energy. Energy doesn't it's not created, it's not destroyed. You can't, you just transform it.
Mhm.
So I know that's going to be a beautiful experience as well, but as a human there's only so much that you can take, there's only so much that you're supposed to know to be able to live as a human, because if we knew all those things then we wouldn't be human, right?
Yeah. And that also, that brings us to the level of spirituality in each individual human. Some humans are more spiritually enlightened than
Mm.
others. You know,
Do you think atheists are not spiritually enlightened or they're just differently enlightened?
I, then they got to be differently enlightened because half of the definition describes who I am. You know what I mean? And yeah, half of
She's
it. So what am I? I'm
she's
I'm an
having
atheist
she's
and
having an
a
epiphany right
spiritual
now.
person.
She's
Yeah, I'm
like, "I
stuck
didn't
on that.
realize I was half atheist. I'm half
Yeah,
atheist and half spiritual. What is
for
going on
real.
here?"
No, see, I need somebody to
Break it
prove
down
me
for
on
you,
that.
right?
Mhm.
No, that's
I
very
don't like that
interesting.
Google definition. They need to change it.
But it's true though. I've heard that before. Atheists believe in evolution. They don't believe
I
in
believe in
They don't
Adam and
evolution.
believe
Eve.
that God is the one that created everyone,
Yeah, we
that
evolved
started
through
it, that we
I believe
years.
evolved.
that we are God. I believe that God is in everything. Who is my God? Yes, Jesus. Maybe it's because like I said, I go as far as humans can. I'm going to go as far as Jesus
Which is good.
Christ. Was that the closest human being
To God.
representation of who God is? To live a beautiful life? Yes, it is.
Mhm.
Live your life like Jesus did, and you'll see how amazing this journey will be, right?
Mhm.
But how did we come about? What was the first people? I don't care. Like we evolve. Sorry,
You
it's
don't care, but some of us care to know that information. That's why.
yeah. I I think like why do you want to know something that's beyond you when your focus should be on doing what's right, living better?
We're too smart for our own good.
Yeah.
We don't like hocus pocus. We want to know the truth, and that's
Yeah.
That's the problem.
The
It's
truth
very
is you
hard
need
to
to seek
know it.
it. The truth is you need to seek enlightenment, you need to seek spirituality, you need to seek love and forgiveness and awareness, and you'll get closer to what you're seeking.
That's right. The truth is within you. You need to go in and figure it out within yourselves because you know the truth. You are the truth. You are God. You are love. You know what I'm saying? But that's our
Mhm.
belief. Other people don't believe that. And it's okay.
Yeah.
I
And
feel
it
that I'm connected
Right.
to certain things I'm not connected to. It's just not my strength. Sometimes I feel like, oh, that's another life. Because automatically I'll look at something, I'll be like, ooh, and I'll be like, oh, I never really I never thought I would be someone who would be interested in that type of stuff. And then I'm like, oh, I might have been that person in my other life.
Ooh, yay, so Claudia just joined the atheist list with me.
So, well, I mean, I don't
Yes.
think so. That to me is speaking reincarnation. That's not atheism. Isn't that Buddhists believe in
Well, it's
reincarnation?
when this thing said that it's believing in evolution, it didn't mention reincarnation because
Hmm.
again, that's the spiritual part of evolution, right? So I lost my Google definition, but whatever. It's what a lot of people, religious. I guess this is at the religion point. Religion wouldn't go with what she just said. The whole
Why?
reincarnation.
That's
Religion
a different
doesn't
religion.
believe.
That's
They're not
Buddhist.
religion. They're not religion. Buddhism is not a
Buddhism is not a.
religion.
What is it?
Um,
Enlighten me.
well, let's see. Let's figure it out. For example, we have doctrines like the one I grew up in that is not a religion. It's a doctrine who believes in Jesus to
What is
be
that?
our Christian rationalism. So we're Christian because we believe in Jesus, but just because we believe in Jesus does not make our doctrine a religion because it's not. You don't follow the Bible, I guess. That's what I'm saying. I guess religion is always you have that book. So I
That
don't
you
think
follow.
Catholic is the only, obviously Catholic's not the one that
No.
has a Bible, but those are the religion. Anything else that doesn't have a Bible, I would
Does
say is not a
Well,
religion.
I mean, yeah, there's the Quran, there's different books. It's not just the Bible. But I always thought, I mean, again, educate me that
No, what would
Buddhism
you
is a religion.
consult with my best friend? Yeah, it says here religion.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. What is their book called? Sorry,
Uh,
guys, to our listeners, but we're very green, obviously, when it comes to world
So Buddhism
religion.
is one of the world's largest religions.
There you go.
Religions and originated 2,500 years ago in India. Buddhism believed that the human life is one of suffering and that meditation,
Mhm.
spiritual and physical labor, and good behavior are the ways to achieve enlightenment and nirvana. So here you go. So I guess I maybe my feeling of religion was just like the religions that we go to church, but
Mhm.
no. So Buddhism is considered a religion, but again, it's with the whole enlightenment, like I was saying, it's more the spiritual. It's a spiritual religion.
All religions are spiritual. It's just
Yeah.
it's religion is a way to find God through a book
Okay.
or a representation of that. The Buddha represents their God, right?
Hmm.
But yeah, yeah, yeah.
Buddhism
That's
sounds so
crazy.
awesome.
Buddhism is amazing.
I know it sounds
And this is why,
awesome.
like, when I think about being religious, like, I can't just pick one religion.
Right.
I can see all religion
All
as
right. But have you said, I don't pick that religion? You said you can't pick just one, which is understandable. But is there a religion that you say, no, I can't pick that religion? Because that's where I'm stuck at.
um,
The Catholic,
you
straight
can't
up.
pick that religion.
I can't pick that religion.
But
My
you pick
beliefs
Jesus
are not
Christ, and Jesus Christ is part of that
exactly,
religion.
exactly.
So I don't
Why did
identify with a religion, but I can see why religion exists, and I can see why some people might need to follow a religion to the T. I'm someone who I'll pick and choose different parts of a religion if it resonates with me.
okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
I'm not gonna say I'm this, I'm Buddhist, I'm Catholic, I'm Christian, I'm Muslim, because I'm not any of those things. And I would never be one particular thing because I'm just the type of person that I can identify, I can see the value. I just because I see the value in all of them, I can't be one of them, you know?
Hmm.
Right, you're practicing your free will,
There
and
you
I
go.
think that's where I can see all of them, and I've practiced the Catholic. I go to church, and my family's very in it. There are things that I was raised into in my belief system, but I'm also open-minded to everything else that is me, and not allowing a category to keep me boxed in, and that's I hear people talk about that a lot. Like, I'm not going to be just one religion. I'm going to be multiple religions if I want to, because it suits with me. And that's right. You should be. You are a free willed human to do what you want and practice the way you want. You shouldn't be categorized into one specific religion. I agree with that, Naya. Like, I'm not, don't tell me I have to be Catholic because my grandmother was Catholic and this and that. No, like, let me see all of the beauty and all of the nature has got to give me. The universe is giving that to us. Why must you take it away from me and tell me I have to be under a specific religion to be able to practice only one God when there's many out there?
Yeah.
There's many out there,
Yeah.
or there's many ways
In
of
your
believing in
own
what it is.
belief system. You
I
can
well,
call it
I
Buddha, you
am
can call it
That's what I am, Christian. That's my religion.
Jesus,
It's not a religion, but I'm Christian.
Christian. Yeah. I'm a Catholic Christian and I
And I'm not.
You're a Catholic Christian, Claudia?
that's the
Yeah.
church. Yeah, my
Catholic
church.
Christians need to go to church every Sunday and read the
Right.
Bible, believe in Adam and Eve.
Yes.
You have to. That's what
That's
they make it seem like
No,
you have
that's a
to. No,
Catholic
no,
But
Christian. No,
that's
no,
what
no,
it
no.
is. Then don't identify as Catholic if
Don't
you're
say
not
you're Catholic
believing in
if you
that. You
don't
have to
believe
have
in
that belief.
what you're supposed to believe in.
yeah, I'm pretty
I
good.
figured out what I am, Claudia. I guess you need to figure out what you is. Naya
What I
seems to be what
really
she
am.
is.
My
I
practice.
know who I am. It's just not identified as being part of a religion.
Yeah, I don't feel I fall under a
That's right.
category.
You don't feel like you
Um,
fall in a category? You just said you were Catholic.
But that's my family.
Yeah.
but you're not your family though. You don't
Right.
have to be where
I
your
mean,
family
I
is.
participate in all of those things and have been part of it as children. But now that I'm older, I feel like I'm a lot more. I've been more than just a Catholic.
So you feel limited and constricted to say that you're a Catholic because again, they have rules and things that you have to follow. Like you can't be a Catholic and practice Buddhist, things that
Right. I think
Buddhism.
that's wrong.
Buddhists do. Yeah.
I think it's wrong. I think that if I identify with some part of what the Catholic religious beliefs are and others, I should be able to go to a Catholic church when I want to, go to a Buddhist place when I want to. It's all one.
Ultimately.
Yeah. So why do people put people in a category that you cannot wonder? Like, I don't know. We can go into a deep thing about this because
Yeah.
it's out of control.
Yeah, like what were we talking
Like
about?
trying to
Some
I
control.
know.
SWaT thing? Shack
Yeah.
attack? Back to Shack
Like
attack.
half of this episode's been a whole separate topic on its own. But yeah, I only really had one more thing to say about the Shack, the movie. Towards the end where he goes on the journey to forgive his daughter's murderer.
Mm. And that's basically the real part of the movie, right? This whole thing has
Well,
been a journey
I mean, the whole movie's been a
towards the
journey for
end.
him.
Yeah.
This is to kind of find closure. He needed to find closure in his daughter's death.
Mhm.
And God tells him in this scenario that you need to forgive the murderer, is basically
Mhm.
what God is trying to tell him.
Mhm.
And he's like, no, I'll never forgive him. Why would I ever forgive him for that?
Yep.
And God's like, well, that's my son too. And then a very important quote, which I live by, is God says, forgiveness doesn't establish a relationship, it just lets go of his throat. So, going back to our first episode where we were saying that forgiveness is for you, not for the other person. God said it in this movie as well. He said, the murderer has his own path to go on. That murderer has his own demons to tackle, but you're suffocating yourself. You're the one that's holding on to his throat, exerting all this energy on this person. That forgiveness allows you to release that. Doesn't mean that that person's going to be in your life or going to be your best friend. It just means that you release yourself from that pain and suffering. And so God's like, say it, like say, I forgive you.
Yeah.
And it was hard. And after he finally says it, he's like, I'm still mad. He said, I'm still mad. He's like, yes, that's normal. He's like, it's going to take you some time. You're going to have to say it like 1,000 times before it gets easier, which to me brings me to time. Does time play a role in forgiveness?
Yeah, but I mean, the longer you stay in a grief, the longer you stay in a darkness place, there's your time right there, right?
You're losing your time that you could have spent doing amazing things, living your life happy and joyful.
Yep.
because we're limited to the amount of time that we have on this earth as this being. So not forgiving people robs you of that a life and the experience that you could have. And yeah, it's
Mm.
hard. It's not going to be right away, but you have to continuously do it, continuously say it. Again, you don't have to look that person in the face, but you yourself have to come to that realization that you need to release yourself of this pain and suffering.
Mhm. Did you have another point on the time thing? Because I know you posed the question to us. Do we think time plays a big part of, right? Do you have another point on that?
No?
No?
Do you?
What do you think about how time plays?
I think time helps. Time does help because time distances us from the past, but only if you let it. Because if you think about something bad that happened to you, your body is going to experience that same trauma, whether it's 10 years ago or 10 days ago, if you're still constantly holding on to that negative feeling. You have to get to a point where you release yourself of that negativity. So when you do think of that moment, it doesn't affect you the same way.
Mhm.
So I think over time, yeah, if you're doing the work over time, it's not going to be as painful when you think about it.
Or even putting in time to deal with it. You know how some people like the guy in the movie, I keep forgetting his name.
Mac.
He I don't know, to me when he was in the dream that we're
Mhm.
not sure how he really got there, was him
Well, we
trying to
know
shut down,
if you watch
right?
the movie, you'll know how he got there.
Yeah, I
I'm not going
don't
to
remember.
ruin it though.
I watched the movie though, but
Yeah, see,
whatever.
that's why
I
you need
think
to
I
watch
think
it
I
again.
said he fainted and went into a sleep. That's what I
Yeah,
right
but
now this is
this
what I
other
remember.
things happen.
Yeah,
You
no.
if you watch it again, you'll
I'll
know.
watch it again. So, like, when
Yeah.
I'm thinking when he was there, he was at the time that he was like, "I'm done. I quit," Like, there was no forgiveness. There was nothing else that
Oh,
could
he was
happen.
ready to leave.
He
Yeah.
was ready to just give up,
Mhm.
So it's tough when we get to that point that we're ready to give up, and all we need to do really is put some time into it, right? Put some time in understanding what you're feeling, and then a lot more time. How can I forgive? You know what I mean? What's going on? So I guess that brings us back to the first episode. I was like, understanding. Understanding is very important. You need to understand what's happening to be able to forgive. So I think
But
time
that's
helps you
but that's
understand.
your view. Like, I don't think you need to understand to
I know you
forgive.
were very on that when
I'm
you did it. So
right
to me,
because
but me, even this movie kind of like makes me believe that even more because
and
I
me the
think throughout,
opposite, which is crazy.
yeah, okay, let me explain that. You can explain. Me,
Yeah.
I thought him going through the understanding who God was, who Jesus was, whose wisdom was, right? Understanding all of their play in our life or their
Mhm.
meaning in our life was what helped them forgive. To
Right.
me,
So I agree with you there because he understood God, he understood the human process, he understood, but you only have to go through that experience one time. Again, if you're someone who learns, because some
yeah,
people
yeah.
don't learn. If you go through that and you finally get that realization, moving on in your life, you are able to apply that to other situations where you're forced to forgive. So for me, when I think of understanding, I'm thinking
Forced to forgive.
not forced. Okay, I said it wrong. Ah,
It's deep.
You're enlightened.
But go
you're
ahead. Go ahead.
yeah. So when you say understanding, I thought you meant understanding the situation that took place. Like, I don't need to understand why you killed so and so. Like, I don't need to understand that. I just know because of my understanding of God and wisdom and all
Mhm.
that, why I need to forgive. It's
So
not that
so you
situation.
forgive because of your enlightenment level,
Mhm,
right? As I think we all do. And I agree with that too. So yeah, we forgive depending on how enlightened we are about the whole thing.
mhm, mhm,
But and then you didn't agree with me when I said, how do I process through forgiveness is me caring about knowing why that person did what they did. And again, this is why the movie goes like, why did dude in the movie had to say no? I will never forgive. Why would he never forgive? I don't want it's me understanding like it's because of what he went through his life. It's because of what his dad did to him, his dad did to his mom, what happened at the lake, and then boom, his daughter. What happened to his daughter? Those are the things that happened in his life that he was like, no, I'm not gonna forgive. Correct?
I
But
think he
him
didn't understand
understanding
what forgiveness
for
was.
yeah, but then he had to there was a point in the movie that he had to understand his dad, why his
Mhm.
dad did what his dad did. Do you understand? And I
Wisdom made
think
him see that.
yeah. So before that, he was like, "No, I'm not gonna forgive him." But I think when he realized what his dad did, when he forgave his dad because he understood what had happened to his father, that's when he was able to forgive the killer of
Right,
his
because that's why I
first
said
kid.
wisdom is the goal, because
Yeah,
wisdom made him see that everybody has a backstory.
yeah,
Like, people do what they do because of what was done to them.
yeah,
So we're not the ones to judge because we don't know what happened to that person. You know what I mean? Like, again, we cannot hold that guilt. We cannot take on that negativity because of the other person's actions, is
yeah.
basically why we
And
forgive.
that's where I lie with my understanding of why the person maybe did me wrong. You
Right,
know?
because you
Yeah.
understand that
That's
that
where
yeah.
that's why I say understanding so much.
Yes, ladies. So I think I did okay. I didn't give away too much. I did have to set up the story so you kind of knew what we were going in, but I didn't give away the interesting parts.
You
How
know,
the story
I
unfolds.
think you made it, like, exciting for the, viewers to say, "Oh, let me go watch this." But
Mhm.
again, trigger warning, if you know you're
Sensitive to that kind
sensitive
of stuff.
or dealing with something, but and believe it or not, if you do go through the whole movie, it might trigger that stuff, but it also at the end will help you big time in dealing with if going through forgiveness or grief or in a dark place at that moment. That movie's really good for that.
Ditto. So yeah, any final thoughts, ladies?
I mean, there was when you said we were gonna talk about the movie, I was like, oh, we're gonna talk about sins and the truth and pain and faith and forgiveness, but I think we did good, right?
Yeah. I mean, we never know really where our
But
conversations
yeah,
lead. I mean,
yeah,
we focused heavily on religion and spirituality, which we kind of have to because a lot of this movie is rooted in that. And then it kind of brings up everyone's own personal ideas and thoughts of what religion is. And even if you're someone who's not religious or you're not spiritual, it's still worth watching the movie and
definitely.
just seeing things from a different perspective. Again, it might not be your belief or your perspective, but it's always good to really understand how other people think and process. And again, you never know, it could help you. So my takeaway is to watch the movie and to read Conversations with God. There's 3 books. I'm pretty sure once you start on the first one, you're gonna want to read the second and third one as well.
Yep, yep.
Claudia, any lost any last words?
Claudia said a lot.
Yes, you did.
No, it really is a enlightened movie. Be open minded a lot to this. Non-judgmental is something you would have to be as well. So take yourself out of yourself if you're a specific person who don't believe in religion, and if it's not your thing, please don't listen to this podcast or just don't watch it, because we're just having a conversation, stuff that we normally discuss as spirituality and religion. It's part of us, it's part of who we are, and growing is what we're trying to do. And like we've said it in our platform several times, we are open to conversations and learning from our audiences at the same time. So feel free to connect with us if you like. I really like the movie. It made me question a lot of my thoughts sometimes as well. Because again, well, humans, we don't always think good things. And it's just reminding ourselves, like, no, I need to change that. This is the better way to do it, not to stay in the darkness. So, losing someone that close, I understand his anger. So I can relate to why he wanted to blame God for doing it. But in the lesson, watching it and everything else, God does not create evil within us. He is with us. So the evil is around us. So he sent the angel that was evil to earth. So this is where we are.
Mm. There's a Catholic in there coming
I know,
out.
right?
It's, she's in there somewhere. This is what she was grown into. So, but she's learning a lot too about other things, and I like those other things, and I'd like to be a part of that.
Cool.
Cool, cool. Well, let's wrap it up, ladies. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Don't forget to follow us on all of our social media platforms.
Don't forget to comment your feedback.
Share, 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 share.
Yeah, share the podcast with your BFFs, share with your friends, your family. Let them tune in and share with us what you think about
What do
topics, right? Of our conversation
yes.
and what else you would like us to chat about. We're running out of topics here, please. Give us topics to chat about.
I got not.
We'll always find
It would be
something to
nice
talk
to have
about.
a
Something
free
in the
day, like
bag.
just jump in, press record,
Yeah.
and then just chat.
Whatever
Those
comes
are
out.
the best ones.
All right,
How
we'll
was
do
your
that.
day? Like, yeah, we should do one like that.
Okay, yeah, we'll add that. Claudia, write that down.
It would be
You
everything like
you
write it
have
down.
you
Yeah.
have like
Like
2
this.
topics off of this one episode. You've got already 2 topics, so
It's snowing better now, guys.
I know. All right,
Let it
everyone.
snow.
Let's say goodbye.
And it's funny, it's snowing,
Bye.
reminding me of the movie The Shack.
Oh,
It's how it's
yeah.
snowing.
Bye,
So cool. All right.
Thank you
Peace
for
and love.
listening. Shut up and
guys.
subscribe. Bye.